Greetings, denizens of the tri-state area. Jacob Weil here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Dragon, I know what we're going to do today. We're going to activate the Recap-inator and discuss my favorite cartoon, Phineas and Ferb. That's right. In honor of the 15th anniversary and in preparation for the upcoming revival, I'm guiding Blue Dragon 5 here throughout the series, experiencing his reactions, watching it for the first time, and reliving my summer memories through the years. Tonight's episodes are Cirque du Soleil and Toy to the World. All right, so when it comes to Cirque du Soleil, how you coming down, Dragon?
Yeah, this one was this is a fun episode. It's absurd yet has a great song. I gotta admit though, I like this, but it's not the strongest plot. It just really feels like an excuse for a circus setting, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But when we get to the circus setting, though, it does allow for a lot of great set pieces and humor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, any other thoughts on this, or we're just gonna get into it with the recaps and stuff?
I mean, I'll admit, not the most involved. The Doofenshmirtz plot, as we'll get to it, funny, but not the A stringer of Doofenshmirtz plots.
Yeah. To be fair, it's not a more memorable one, but it is still funny, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean they're all funny.
Yeah,
so far.
Even if they're being tragic, they're being funny.
Yep.
We'll get into more of his tragic backstories as we go on.
Oh, I can only imagine.
All right.
I can just let me ask you this: I have one Doofenshmirtz. It's less about Doofenshmirtz's tragic childhood. This might be about Vanessa's not so tragic backstory. Okay, are we ever going to see like a thing where Doofenshmirtz talks about like throwing Vanessa a birthday party as a girl and just getting into like an inane conversation or like argument with somebody about the birthday party, like being overcharged or something?
Well, technically, we do. Technically, in a future episode, we do see like Vanessa's birthday and his various attempts to throw her a good birthday party.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, there's nothing more about it being too expensive or innate or anything.
Well, no, I'm just giving an example. The point is the idea that it sounds like it's just going to be something very mundane gets in the way of it being as special as he hoped it was going to be.
Basically, he always throws her the wrong kinds of party.
Okay.
But that's actually a really good episode in my opinion.
I'm looking forward. I'm already sold on that. I can't wait to get to that one.
Yep. So you really liked Doofenshmirtz's birthday episode, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right. Into the background, I guess, for this one. The story was written by Martin Olson, staff writer on the show, and Bobby Gaylor, who regularly provides the voice of Buford. Storyboards were provided by, like a name you might be vaguely familiar with, J.G. Quintel.
Yep.
Who's well known for creating regular show and Close Enough.
Yeah, I wonder how Close Enough's doing these days. He got a lot of buzz when it first started.
I heard it was canceled.
Well, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they all have kind of gone that way. But yeah, I mean, I knew it had like 2 to 3 seasons. I didn't know if the third season, how recent the third season was, but yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea. I haven't watched any of it.
Okay.
But this is his only work for this particular show.
I see, a one and done.
Yep. He also did work for Camp Lazlo and Flapjack, but before basically he did a lot of work for Cartoon Network.
I really enjoyed Camp Lazlo.
Yeah, it's like as you can see, there are a lot of people from this, from that show, that came over to work on this.
Oh yeah.
Mainly because a lot of the people also worked on Rocco's too.
Yeah.
But anyway, another storyboard artist was Kim Robertson, who worked on the show throughout all 4 seasons, and basically known as a storyboard artist on Camp Lazlo, and a character designer on Kablam, Teacher's Pet, Pepperan, The Weekenders, Randy and Mr. Whiskers, and has directed several episodes of Amphibia.
You had me at kablam.
Like I said, I don't know exactly what she did for Kablam other than just as designer.
Where's Roy Kent when you need him? You had me at kablam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Dan Bobblemeyer, co-creator of the show, directed this episode.
Pavi.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Pavel.
Indeed. Another bit of background. Phineas's voice starts to more settle into what it usually sounds like in this episode.
Okay.
Ironically enough, it also features his voice getting extremely high because of helium. But
It's called a safety net, kids. Very useful in a circus.
Indeed. Even though I didn't see a lot of those in this episode.
No, they're gonna get sued. Like, I guess if that thing didn't blow away because of the helium, or I guess technically the Doofenshmirtz, it's they would have been sued like bad.
Maybe they could cover that in the gritty reboot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like for you, basically you have like a Better Call Saul era like season of the reboot, which is basically the legal ramifications for all their schemes. Like someone like Candace is trying to RICO them.
Oh god.
Just for like all the lack of safety protocols and everything, and it just magically disappeared. Who the boy's gonna call? It's gonna be a Saul Goodman type, but that Saul Goodman type, get this, it's the platypus.
The platypus.
Platypus in a colorful, loud suit.
Oh god. We're building the war.
And here's a good. Okay, Perry has on speakerphone the actual lawyer. He's just like the physical mouthpiece because they couldn't afford to get Bob Odenkirk physically there, but they have Bob Odenkirk on the phone. That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's great. Oh my god. As Ellie B
It doesn't always have to be dark, kids. It just has to be real world.
As Ellie B would state, we're building the war.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we can get into the actual meat of the episode in this case.
Let's do it.
The kids are preparing for a visit to the world famous Cirque de Lune.
Cirque du Soleil parody.
Yep, which is actually because funny because Cirque du Soleil means circus of the sun in French. We could probably guess Lune means moon.
And that's why we have a moon in the climax later.
Basically, yes.
So I gotta be honest with you, the setup on this one, this is honestly, when I rewatch the episode, this is where things get a little clunky for me. The setup is clunky in that it's like we really kind of string things along in a very very obvious way. And we have like the circus being canceled because someone had very coincidentally an allergy attack, in which that leads us to very clunkily exposit. Oh boy, Candace has a parsnip allergy.
Yeah.
Jacob, are you unwrapping anything right now?
No, sorry.
Okay, just making sure. So, yeah, so Candace, she's got this allergy. We basically spell out the fact, okay, Candace has allergies to one particular thing that's most absolutely going to be in this episode.
As I said, the show uses a lot of Chekhov's guns and callbacks.
Yep. Oh yeah, or Chekhov's-inator.
Chekhov's-inators, as I coined last time.
Yes, you did. All right. So let's see. So should we talk about the weird thing? Here's something that it's so funny. These two episodes that we're going to talk about tonight, there are gritty reboot things that we didn't even need to come up with there in this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, let's talk about Candace's weird morning ritual.
Yep. Waking up with Jeremy.
Jeremy, but not just. Well, that's a different show, Jacob. But no, she wakes up with Jeremy's picture.
Yeah.
Making it kiss and make goo-goo eyes at the other Candace picture. It's kind of like here's the question: is it more twisted than Helga's Arnold shrine, or less? Because she's in bed with this thing. That's the way she wakes up in the morning.
Honestly, I think building a shrine would probably be more creepy.
It's true. You know, it's funny. I was watching someone do like a giant overview of all the Hey Arnold stuff recently.
Yeah.
And they kind of point out some Easter eggs, and there was a messed up one from the Hey Arnold movie.
Which one?
Sorry, the Hey Arnold the movie, literally the movie, and not the Jungle movie,
All right,
the theatrical one.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So, point being, Helga has the idea they keep giving Helga new shrines, and one of these shrines had a pair of Arnold's underwear in it, like
Oh.
in a display case.
Well, that's kind of disturbing.
It is, yes.
No wonder she talks to a therapist.
Yeah.
I think, yes, we know you love the kid, Helga, but slow your roll a little bit.
Hashtag Dr. Bliss.
I need to start rewatching Hey Arnold.
Yes.
I mean, there are, as I point out, multiple connections to that show and this show.
Yeah. Poppmeyer got his bones on that show, man.
Yep.
All right, so the point is, again, is we picture ritual in the morning, which basically is interrupted by circus talk.
Yep, they're putting up their tent in the background, and of course that leads us to seeing the amazing Perry.
Yes, the amazing Perry is essentially Perry dressed in like a coconut bra, and he's like a little jester's cap and a little hula skirt. He looks ridiculous, so he goes to he goes to the secret location, the secret hideout base thing. And he is monograms there, and monograms cannot get through the briefing with a straight face. He just can't. He's not even attempting to. He just laughs, laughs at him.
Well, he does try at first. Like I thought of it. I heard a funny joke earlier. Just turn around and we can complete this thing. And then he just snaps.
That was just what a jerk, man. You know what? If I were Perry, I'd say, you know what? No, just no. I'm done. Okay, deal with them yourself. I'm out. Keep the little hat.
Perry's loyal to the mission, though.
Yeah, he is. But to be fair, even the mission in this case, I mean, surely the effects of whatever Doofenshmirtz wouldn't last forever. I mean, come on.
Like, well, we don't know for sure.
But even so, I mean, I think the worst thing in the world, like, everyone just sounds a little different. It's a dumb plot. It's an incredibly dumb plot. I'll give him that.
I mean, it's Doofenshmirtz. What'd you expect?
It might be his... Jacob, do you think it's his dumbest plot yet?
So far, most likely.
I think it is. I think it's just so far this might be his dumbest plot. And one of his plots recently was covering his brother in pigeon goo.
Yeah, I mean,
considering this number.
I mean, his previous plot was actually pretty smart.
I know, it's the thing. It's so funny. Like he peaks and valleys. Peak, valley.
Yeah, and this thing, it doesn't make it any less entertaining, though, if you ask me. Like, all of Doofenshmirtz's plans are dumb in some way or another.
I think there was a missed opportunity, though, with the whole voice thing. You'd imagine it would have paid off more for Candace, but it did not.
You would think, but ultimately that didn't interconnect.
Speaking of which,
funnily enough, there's actually an episode later on where Doofenshmirtz actually uses an inator to lower his own voice instead of hiding everyone else's. Like, go on.
He got a little lazy that time here.
Yes.
So, Candace, meanwhile, Jeremy brings her a whole bunch of parsnips. Which is a bad idea because she's deathly allergic to parsnips. Not deadly allergic. Just, okay, never forget that point. She's allergic to parsnips.
And leads to it has a very weird allergy.
She turns all red, and her voice turns into the. Who is her voice, by the way? Who's the voice of Deep Candace?
You want to know?
I would like to know.
Good old Danny boy.
Wait, Povenmire?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
And Povenmire is amazing. I would never have thought that was him. He did a great job.
Yep. He's the voice of Parsnip Candace.
Nice. So yeah, Parsnip Candace. So basically, she's embarrassed. She's wearing a bag on her head. She does not want to be seen by Jeremy in this state or sounding like it. And she's like wearing a sweatsuit. It's all going to pay off. It's not just a random fashion choice, kids. It's going to pay off later, big time later.
Oh yeah.
So she goes to the mall. I love. A part of me is like, you know what? Let's just do a little splintering spin-off here from Phineas and Ferb when it comes back. Okay, we have Phineas and Ferb, the reboot. Yeah, they're not reboot, but the
continuation.
Yes, that's the continuation. The reunion, aka the
basically the season 5 and 6.
Yeah. Anyway, so Linda and the Linda at the yarn barn. Honestly, I just want to see like the Linda. Like I want to see what Linda does in her days. Like we always cut away for like periodically check-ins. Like what's Linda up to for a change? You know what, guys? Like, we know what the kids are. We've seen the formula again and again. You know what we need to do? We need to see what Linda does. We need some Linda time. Let's just call the show that Linda Time. Or Linda's Life. Let's see. Let's check in with Linda's Life. Linda and Lawrence. Linda's Life. All the L's. It's an LLC if you throw in Candace.
Oh God! Believe it, like I said, there are episodes down the line that do kind of like bring her more into the main plot.
I mean, Linda's very interesting. She had a music career with the One Hit Wonder. You know, she's playing with her band at the Yarn Barn at the mall.
Like yeah, and they actually get a guest singer this time too.
Yeah, it's Parsnip Candace. And they basically do kind of this, it's kind of a combination of the blues and kind of a parody of Elvis's song Trouble.
Yep, and that song is called Evil Boys.
Yeah,
also,
exactly.
Or EVILBOYS.
Yeah,
Go on.
Sorry, one of my favorite moments in the Elvis biopic they released was one of the favorite, not the favorite, but one of my favorites is when he does the performance of Trouble when he stands up to the man. And so I'm watching it, I was like, oh man, it's so much like that song. I'm really digging this.
Even though I can't say Candace's voice sounds like Elvis.
Oh no, I'm just saying like the tone of the song about the whole. But, you know, in fact, the Elvis constantly says "evil," so it's like her spelling out the evil boys of it all. That's a little reminiscent. Not again one for one, but it's cool.
And I do have some background to that song anyway.
Sure, what do you got?
Written by songwriters were Bobby Gaylor, Swampy Marsh, Martin Olson, and Dan Meyer. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, Dan also performed the song as Candace's parsnip-affected voice. And the funny thing is, like, you know, I told you that this, when in the original airing, Disney kind of aired things in a strange order originally.
Yep.
Instead of their intended production order.
A sad, strange little order. I remember.
Yep. Like basically, this episode actually premiered before some of the episodes that were mentioned in this song.
Oh yeah, that's gonna gum up the works big time.
Like basically, specifically from what I read, it's like it premiered before It's About Time entry to get ready, because she mentions going back in time and the Treehouse Robots. But when they aired this, Disney hadn't aired those yet. So it's like basically it's almost like it was unintentional foreshadowing.
Yep.
So that's a bit of fun trivia regarding that. So, want to talk about the circus?
Well, we should. So Candace interrupts and basically is like telling her mother what's going on. It kind of gets framed musically and it kills there. People are loving it. They turned to a CD already.
Yeah, I mean it was a big hit.
Yeah,
apparently
the one hit wonder thing runs in the family.
Those BOYS, they're just EVIL.
Yep.
I don't have
EVILBOYS.
Like, obviously, my singing voice isn't as good as Dan's.
Yeah.
If it was, I'd have an entirely different career right now.
Well, yes, that's how that works, Jacob.
As you can see, these guys are multi-talented because Dan and Swampy actually do have some musical experience too. They were in several bands before, like local bands, I should say.
Just imagining Poffmeyer like a giant mullet.
It's actually not far off.
Huh.
I don't think he had a mullet, but he definitely had 80s hair in the 80s.
Okay.
You know what I mean when I say 80s hair.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean by 80s hair. I got you.
But yeah, he definitely had it. Anyway, less is known about Swampy.
Yeah.
In that regard.
So let's go to Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated,
which unfortunately did not appear in this episode.
Oh man.
The jingle was not in this episode.
But I miss it.
Yep, I miss it too. But we did get a version of it in the next episode.
That's true. So I love this guy's really funny. I loved it when he burst through the door. just when he burst through the top of the lair, like, Perry the Platypus, can't you use the door? Like please? Can you use the door? Of course, we look at what's behind the door, and it's just this variety of evil death trap. Is Perry's. I love. Here's what cracks me. I don't know what's funnier. Is Doofenshmirtz saying that, the visual gag of what's behind the door, or Perry the Platypus's reaction might be the funniest part. Just see him like, really, man? Just giving him that look of like, what?
It's
How?
just that incredulous look that Perry has.
It's the fact that Perry Plaza usually plays it straight, but just him just being taken aback by the stupidity and just the like, really?
Yep, it's actually kind of a reversal of a plan we saw before, like where he had the incredibly obvious signs up front.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the reversal of that.
See, as we learned from the last episode, Doofenshmirtz, he's getting smarter.
Yeah, like his intelligence comes and goes when it comes to that.
That's true. Depends if he has a well-balanced breakfast.
I don't think anything about Doofenshmirtz is well balanced.
Except his breakfast, Jacob. I'm sure Doofenshmirtz has great breakfast.
I'm sure. Otherwise, it'd probably
Have we ever seen him at breakfast time?
Most likely. I mean, probably somewhere in these 4 seasons we see him eating breakfast of some kind.
Why don't you plant the flag if we ever see a Doofenshmirtz breakfast?
Okay.
Okay? Keep an eye out for that.
I'll keep an eye out, trust me.
Okay. Anyway. Evolos! Okay. So, Doofenshmirtz here, basically says he's built. What's even funnier is before Perry the Platypus crashes, he's been listening to like an audio, kind of a self-confidence building audio tape, working through how to deepen your voice. And what does he say when Perry crashes through?
Like, yeah, it's in your tangerines. You want to fight about it?
Nectarine.
Right.
You got a problem with that?
It's like, I'm dancing with their wife, pal. You got a problem with that? Yeah.
So this Doofenshmirtz has this incredibly stupid plan. I'm gonna lower my voice by using the Voice-inator, not on himself, but using it to raise, to heighten and raise everyone else's voice.
Using Doofelium.
Basically, he's transforming the air particles to Doofelium.
Yeah, basically he's like, I could have lowered my own voice, but it just seemed like too much trouble.
Again, it's the fact that that's too much trouble, that concentrating it to one person, you got to build a big old machine that has to change the air. It can't just be like a little laser beam. Oh, man.
Like I said, in a later episode, he actually does do something to lower his voice, but in an entirely different way. And for an entirely different reason.
Yeah, he eats bran.
Bran?
Brand.
What is brand?
Gee, it's brand.
Brand?
Brand.
Brand?
Brand.
Okay.
I guess technically it might be brand, but I think it might actually be brand. Is it bran flakes or brand flakes?
It's bran.
That's right. So it is brand. Okay, it's brand.
Yeah, it's brand, not brand.
Okay, well, Jacob, it's well, no. Here's what it is. It's brand, but with a D for Doofenshmirtz. It's brand.
Brandy brand.
He eats brand.
Oh god.
See, just when you say it, it just kind of deepens the voice. Brand. Oh, give it a try. See how it works.
Yeah. Although I don't know if it would work the intended way for Doofenshmirtz, though.
True. Brand.
Like, oh, come on! It made my voice higher!
Okay. Anyway, back to the episode. Yeah, so Doofenshmirtz is this big little kind of hovering contraption. He's firing in the air. Perry, meanwhile, while he's in the midst of his fight, hilariously, he has to take a break from the fight.
And go to the circus.
For a very, thankless role of just okay, just going to toss him a little trampoline, he'll go through a little thing into a little pile of water, yeah.
Which is kind of contrasting how he's like this highly skilled, super secret agent.
It's really funny.
Yeah, just the contrast of him just dressed in the costume, bouncing off a trampoline and landing back first into a puddle of water.
Yeah, speaking of liquid landings, let's talk about old Buford.
Yeah, Buford has his own idea for the Cirque.
Very simple idea.
Landing in mud.
Or land in the mud.
Of course, Phineas and Ferb try and find some way to improve. It's like, I still get to land in the mud, right?
I wonder if there is an allusion to Back to the Future with this with Buford or not.
How so?
Well, the idea that our bully character in Back to the Future, he always, through every decade, apparently through every lineage of Tannen, ends up in, well, something far worse than mud. He ends up in manure.
Or peat moss in reality, I guess.
Well, still, it was kind of, it was, wasn't it, they said, they had like a sign that said Ajax manure or something,
I
didn't
know it was in the movies it was manure, but for obvious reasons they just switched it to peat moss for when so like they didn't have to put
Poor Tom Wilson, and yeah.
So Tom Wilson didn't have actual manure in his mouth.
Wait, did they use no? There's no really. They used, but there's no way they used actual manure on.
And I said that's why they used peat moss.
No. I'm saying Jacob. I'm saying the other movies though. So in Pete, yes, and the peat moss is in Back to the Future 3. I'm saying the other ones they were
in all of them. I believe they were peat moss.
Wait, so it was peat moss in all of them?
I believe so.
Because I know the last one looks very obviously like peat moss because it's green. The other ones, though, it's brown. That's what I'm asking. That's what you got me double thinking it now. Like, could that is that peat moss is just brown?
I think so.
Can peat moss actually be brown?
I thought so. I mean, I don't know. Let me double check.
I mean, peat moss. When you think about it, it's moss, so it's green, which very much looks like the old West manure we used in Back to the Future. Forgive us for turning this into crap talk, folks.
Yeah, peat moss does. Some peat moss actually does have a little bit of a brown tint to it.
Okay, well, maybe you're right then. Well, thank God, we didn't do terrible things to Tom F. Wilson. So
yeah, but I'm pretty sure there's probably some like issues with there'd be actual issues with it involved with that.
But
I mean, it's not like Poltergeist where they used real life corpses.
Yeah. Well, regardless, the thing is, I'm wondering if it's how much of a stretch it is. Is like bullies ending up in horrible substances. I wonder if like Buford very willingly. I like the mud.
I mean, that might be a bit of a stretch, but
yeah, it's entirely possible.
But I think it's just more like they just wanted Buford to land in the mud.
But I love how enthusiastic he's not like regretting. He's like, no, I want to land in the mud. And they come with like they spice it up, like the Aztec mud of doom, and then it's like, do I still get to land in the mud?
Yes, I want the mud.
I want the mud.
Buford's one of my favorite characters.
Jacob, he wants the mud.
I want the mud.
Then he gets so offended with the amazing Bago taking his act. Somebody stealing that dude stealing my act.
And that dude happens to be Candace.
See, if they did a Batman, like kind of a Batman send up like they did with the other franchises, Phineas and Ferb, Buford would absolutely have to be Bullock. It'd have to be.
He basically is.
Yeah.
Like, who would Batman be in this case?
Well, Perry, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Wrong superhero universe, though.
True. Okay, so Candace, she basically ends up looking like the Amazing Bago. She ends up being launched into the air, which again does not really impact things the way you think it would.
Yeah, somehow they mistake Buford for Candace for Buford. Because, they look exactly the same.
Well, Jacob, you don't know about this because it was like a deleted scene, but Buford, he was getting in shape. For this event meant everything for him. I mean, not only did he get in shape, he wanted to be as aerodynamic as possible. So what he did is he used like an old style, like not per se this, but kind of an equivalent of like a medieval like stretcher, like a little stretch and torture device to make himself systematically taller. And in the span of 24 hours, mind you, which is even more impressive. So imagine the manpower and the commitment. And Candace stole his thunder. She just stole it. It was like they were twinsies. And she stole it.
Yep. And she ended up being lighter than him too, which launched her further higher in the air through the tent.
Yeah.
And then Buford just lands in the mud.
Just jumps in the mud out of desperation so she wouldn't steal the spotlight.
Basically. Hey, wait. How'd he get over? How'd he get in there? Ferb's line's like, perhaps Buford truly is amazing.
So how do we cure Candace, by the way? Is it just run out? Like the time just passed or what?
I believe so. I mean, it seems to have what happened, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like a real missed opportunity. Like she's launched out of the air and she could have landed in, like right into the helium thing and fixed her voice. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's just like a time distance thing. I don't know.
maybe. Anyway,
Well, fun fact about Ferb, like that's actually the first time he says someone else's name.
true.
Like, yeah, the funny thing is he doesn't say every single character's name in this show. Like he only mentioned heck, he doesn't even say his own name until season 3. So, but it's just kind of funny that like some people like trust me. There's a lot of discussion in the wiki about like when will Ferb say their name, say this person's name or whatever.
Yep, say my name.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Are you Heisenberg?
You're right.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did Cranston ever cameo in Phineas and Ferb? Because he gets around a lot. Like, did they ever use him?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. Unfortunately, he never did.
Okay.
I mean, it would have been great, but I don't think he. When I recall, he never guest starred at all in this show.
Again, I'd have to double check, but Cranston, he did do an episode of Family Guy. He was on the Cleveland Show primarily for a long while, but he did he did play himself as Hal from Malcolm in the Middle on Family Guy once, and it was back in the good years, folks. Don't worry, this was the good times. I wonder if that was a Povenmire era episode or not. So I wonder if he had any involvement in that, which would have been really, really funny. It was actually a really good joke too. Just the fact that I forget if they got Jane Kasmerick or not, but basically Lois was going off on a tirade as she tends to do, and I believe Al just ripped like the top part of the freezer off, from the fridge. It just knocked her on the head, and we're free. We're finally free. And they all walked down the triumphant note. Wait a minute, that's one of like the golden age of Family Guy gags. Like, man, that sums it up so perfectly. I always wanted to see that happen. I wish that would be realized. Everyone's talking about it. Yeah, why don't we see the deleted Breaking Bad ending in which Hal wakes up and it was all a nightmare? Like, I guess let's realizing that in live action, but come on, man, let's realize it.
So basically pull a Newhart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that, right?
By Newhart, you mean the shower thing, right?
No, what I mean is like like how Bob Newhart had the Bob Newhart show, and then the show just called Newhart.
Yeah.
Basically, Bob Newhart and the Bob Newhart show ended, and then the Bob Newhart show for a long time was just considered to be a separate show.
Gotcha.
But then at the very end of the show of Newhart, the whole thing was revealed to be a dream of the character from the Bob Newhart show.
Huh? I didn't know they did that.
And it's considered like one of the greatest endings in the history of television.
Awesome.
Yep. So so I wonder if that's what they would have done for Breaking. Anyway, we should probably get on with the episode.
Yeah, we should. I mean, they filmed that, right? The thing I told you about.
What?
The whole like him waking up and it was like as Hal and it was a dream.
So yeah, because they got Jane Kasmerick and everything.
Yeah.
They got it. Yeah, but obviously it's not the canonical ending.
Thank goodness.
All right, so well, he would at least still be alive, though.
No, well, true. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
would have kind of taken the purpose of everything. But
I know, but I think it's just like a good little joke, on the side joke, I guess.
Anyway, so I think we've talked through Jerk de Soleil.
Well, what about like Jeremy offering to sit next to Candace and even refusing?
He saved her the seat. That was really nice.
Yeah. How'd you get your voice to sound like that? Well, like all the other blues greats, wild parsnips.
Yeah. All worked out.
Yep. And well, actually, we haven't discussed how Doofenshmirtz got defeated yet.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying, Jay. It wasn't really a lot of ceremony. They're just like, I forget if Candace directly bumped into the thing or not, but essentially the whole circus tent came with them.
Well, what happened was when Candace was launched out of there, it created a hole in the tent.
Yeah.
The hose, which I love how Perry was trying to get to it, and Doofenshmirtz was just blocking it. But stop that!
Yeah, that part. Yeah, I think he's reaching for the on-off switch.
Yeah, he's like, stop it! And got into
that was great.
Yep. Got into a tickle fight and everything, or he just tickled Doofenshmirtz.
Yep.
But then, the hose fell down to the tent, filling it with Doofenshmirtz, including Phineas's voice getting like, the grand finale!
Yep.
And basically, it then launched the tent when it got filled with air, and Doofenshmirtz's voice got higher. He's like, curse you, Perry the Platypus! And of course, they cleaned up the rest of the act, and everything all works out. All right, so you want to move on to the next episode?
Yep.
Toy to the world. So, how you coming down on this one?
So I got a funny story about this one.
Yeah.
So one of the few episodes of Phineas and Ferb I did see was not the full episode, but a segment from this. So I was very familiar with part of this, and I loved it. So I really do like this one. So, I mean, the world of toy design is always a fun arena to explore. I think it's wonderfully absurd and satirical what we say about toy creation here.
What was the segment you were talking about?
The montage, literally the montage, like with our main image right here, like that whole Willy Wonka section. That's what I saw. Like when I think Phineas and Ferb, I do think of that music cue that plays during this montage, and yeah.
Like, when did you see that?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, way back when it was like airing reruns of it, I guess. So.
Huh. All right.
Like not when it first premiered, but like when they probably like, air blocks of Phineas and Ferb, I was like I'd be flipping their channels and I had to leave it on while I was doing stuff, and I saw a little bit of that.
So you're regularly familiar with even this episode, then? That's interesting.
That's what I'm saying. Like this one, like mainly that specific month, I didn't see it from start to finish, but like that part, yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about like
right there, yep, that whole sequence.
I mean that's known as the Quirky Worky song.
Yeah, the Quirky Worky song. That's a staple for me with Phineas and Ferb, from what I've seen.
Yep, and it actually does appear quite a bit without the show. Usually during montages, as you surmise. This is just a bunch of random beats done by that composer Danny Jacob.
Yeah.
All right. So any other thing? So how you feel about this episode in total, though?
I love it.
All right. For the background again, Bobby Gaylor and Martin Olson provided the story for this episode. Basically, those two wrote a lot of the first season's stories. If you haven't noticed, like storyboards are written by Michael Diedrich, known for his work as an artist on Johnny Bravo, Fairly Odd Parents, and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and a character designer. The shows he's worked on were The Real Ghostbusters, James Bond Jr., and you'll like this one, Batman the Animated Series.
Can you hit me with the name again?
Michael Diedrich.
Okay.
Do you recognize the name?
I do. I'm sorry. Did you say he did storyboard on this or wrote this?
He wrote this episode. He wrote and storyboarded this episode.
That's the thing. I know Dietrich's name, but I can't remember if he. I think he just boarded on Batman the Animated Series. I don't know if he wrote on.
Like he might have done some storyboarding, but
that's the thing. If it was on Batman the Animated Series, I think he boarded. There's a chance in the later stuff, if he stuck around, he could have wrote. No, it had to. He had to be a storyboard guy on it. It had to be.
Well, the only thing I saw was character designer.
Okay, well, that's the thing. So here's the thing. On Batman the Animated Series, there's a lot of growth and development in which a lot of people who start as character designers, they moved on to storyboard, and then they would move on to writing and directing episodes. It's happened like the greats like Butch Lukic and Boyd Kirkland and Dan Reba, for example. Like Dan Reba, he designed. He did designs probably I think as far back as Heart of Ice, unless I'm thinking of Butch Lukic. And basically,
speaking of which, I heard that Mike Mignola designed Mr. Freeze.
That is true. Yes, Mike Mignola designed Mr. Freeze. He did, and I believe, yes, he designed Mr. Freeze. And when they did Batman Beyond, they basically were going for a Mignola-esque design. So I don't think they brought him back after that for that. But yes, so you had him, and you had I'm trying to remember the other guy. There's another designer who did stuff like Man Bat. I met him too.
I don't know, Dragon.
Yeah, I did. All right. Anyway,
and if you remember it, you can let me know. But the other storyboard artist on this episode was named Chong Lee, who worked on the show for a couple seasons and known for his work on Mickey Mouse Works and House of Mouse, Dave the Barbarian, American Dragon Jake Long, the 2012 incarnation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Netflix's Green Eggs and Ham. And
oh, that's really good. I like that. Did you ever see the Netflix Green Eggs and Ham?
actually, no, I don't. Actually, no, I haven't.
That was good. I mean, I think the first season was probably better than the second, but it was rather good.
All right. And this episode was directed by Swampy.
Nice.
Yep. This is the first of 4 episodes to be directed by Swampy in the entire show. Swampy directed 4 episodes. This is the only one without a co-director or assistant director. And it's the only episode he directed in the first season. Obviously he works as a story writer and obviously executive producer, and in season 4 became the voice director for the show.
Kevin Nolan. Sorry, that was the guy's name I was trying to think. I'm pretty sure he designed Man-Bat.
Oh, all right, that's cool. I don't know who that is, but still cool.
Yeah, I met him at the con probably 2 years ago. Okay, I'm sorry, it's going.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
All right, but I'm done. I'm basically done with the background on this. When we get to the song, I'll bring up that.
Sure.
Well, actually, the song is the first thing in the episode, so that works.
Yeah, let's talk Shimmy Jimmy.
Shimmy Jimmy.
Which a part of me is just thinking, "Gimme Jimmy," one of the first proto Saul Goodman ads from the Albuquerque verse. Gimme Jimmy.
The songwriters are Michael Diedrich again, Danny Jacob, and Dan Povenmire. Performed by Laura Dickinson and Danny Jacob. Laura Dickinson provided a lot of the background vocals throughout the whole show.
Right. So Shimmy Jimmy, very much kind of a parody of the climbing monkey toy. You know, you had like these 2 little plastic prongs that you held, and you basically squeeze them together, and a little monkey did like a somersault. So it's essentially a takeoff on that. That was repurposed into the idea that it'd be a really lame toy if it were like more like a curio, as in like something you put on a shelf, you push a button and it does a little something, like more like a Christmas ornament. That's a standee.
Like, I had no idea that was actually a real thing.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like there's you saw a version of it in Toy Story 2, actually. You see it all. I've seen it a couple times in animation. I've never seen it in. Oh, you know what? I think I saw it in some behind-the-scenes stuff at Pixar. I think it was in John Lasseter's toy room. I think, but I've seen you've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it like somehow in some form of media or something. But in Toy Story 2, when Buzz Lightyear is trying to escape Al's toy barn, and he's zip lining. He's trying to zip line to the door. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
So essentially, the thing that he's ziplining on, it's not a full-on like practical version of it, but that's essentially the monkey toy.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
And so Shimmy Jimmy's basically just a takeoff on all those kinds of toys.
Exactly. Pretty much a takeoff on that mixed with like as when we see like the ad is promising that, and the real toy is kind of that. The toy is just like an automated version of that. You push a button, it goes up, but not a fun toy.
The ad's great.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, it is great.
I would be convinced to at least check out the toy based on that ad if I was a kid.
Yeah. So also, I want to give credit for like the idea of like the world building of this toy company. It's like Hardy Heart Toys. It's good.
With the hyena, and everything.
Yeah. I love that. That's great. That's great branding.
Essentially, it's the hyena with the Woody Woodpecker laugh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, as you point out, good branding. So.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, branding isn't working out for them that well, as we find out later.
Yeah. So let's Candace. Okay, let's talk about Candace's new job.
She's actually got a job at one of the stores at the Hardy Heart Toy Company, which is right across the street from Slushy Dog, where Jeremy works.
Well, across the way.
Yeah, across the aisle.
There you go.
Across the aisle from where Jeremy works.
At the Slushy Dog. I'm gonna go on a minor tangent here.
Yeah.
You know, a Slushy Dog, when she says I could watch her make hot dogs all day. I gotta tell you, man, it takes me back to like very literally just last night. Even I had a mall dog, man. I tell you, I love a good mall dog.
A mall dog?
A mall dog, my friend. Seriously, the best hot dog I've ever had.
Oh.
It's they serve it at the Dairy Queen.
Oh, nice.
I'd like to assume any Dairy Queen you go, they're probably going to serve it the same. You get a hot dog from Dairy Queen, but point being, at least at a mall version, like a mall dog, Dairy Queen hot dog, delicious.
Do they have corn dogs?
Well, I mean, I don't think they have those there. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, no, I've never actually had a hot dog from Dairy Queen.
I mean, they're wonderful.
I mean, I've had like their chicken strip baskets. I've had their hamburgers and obviously their ice cream. But
Yeah, lots of it's constantly with the mall one mainly specializes in the ice cream. They do have the other foods. I usually only get the hot dogs though. So
you going to a Dairy Queen, I would not imagine. I would not picture a hot dog being
I
great.
live for the hot dogs at Dairy Queen, man. That's the thing. Honestly, I think I got one ice cream from Dairy Queen once, and it was fine. I'm just more of a Cold Stone guy, so that's why I don't really do the ice cream there. But it's
Oh,
just
oh.
I've been impressed by the variety they have with the blizzards and everything. My favorite. It was really cool. Like, we're gonna get back on focus here, just real quick.
Cold Stone's good though.
I know I love Cold Stone.
I haven't been there in ages.
It just bothers me that Cold Stone they have like seasonal ice creams. Like, for example, they have like a Cinnabon ice cream, which is delicious. But
Ooh.
apparently they only do it during August or something, which baffles me as to why August.
Like probably for the same reason that the United Dairy Farmers over here does peach ice cream during the summer. It's seasonal seasonal item to drive up sales.
It's like August or November. I think it's August, and they'll serve very briefly. It just baffles me. But yeah, sure, seasonal just to drive numbers up. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
I mean, yeah, it was just kind of like, oh man, I'll get a whole bunch of that ice cream.
In all honesty, these whole kind of sales tactics kind of ties into this episode in a way.
That it does.
I mean, it'd be more relevant to the SpongeBob episode. Chocolate with nuts.
Yeah.
But it's somewhat relevant.
Okay, point being, mall dogs rocking, and Candace is fixated with Jeremy at the slushy dog.
Well, she's fixated with him regardless.
That's true. So she has a nice. How nice is her boss, by the way?
He's like a reasonable guy. I mean, I wouldn't mind working for a guy like him. Keep in mind that's just his storefront face. He might be different behind the scenes.
Yeah, he might have numerous vices we don't know about. He might be gambling and have like a loan shark after him. We don't know.
Well, the gritty reboot could explore that.
Yep, you have this one episode. You have like one of those Emmy bit episodes, in which it's basically like, okay, Candace, close up, I'm going, and he's hiking up his coat and he's going to the casino, and then of course he's taken out back and breaking his hands, like, oh god, no, it's my door display hands, It's basically like him like trying to repair his life while he's giving joy to children. He's like, here you go, enjoy.
Oh my god, that's very similar to your Doofenshmirtz voice.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I forgot like what specific the guy's accent. This guy had an accent. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I mean, I don't think it was anything too out there.
All right. No, that's the thing. It was very subtle, so that's why I don't know what I'm going to do in Doofenshmirtz, but yeah.
But either way, Phineas and Ferb, Candace shows the toy to them, and they are very honestly not impressed.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, me neither. Like I said, the ad it doesn't live up to the hype presented by the ad.
Which so rarely do those toys do.
It's like I mean, truth in advertising. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. So
it's like, and honestly, Candace is just like you geniuses could make a better toy. It's just like, you do know who you're talking to, right, Candace?
If only she could ever learn.
It's like she should have honestly guessed at that point.
In retrospect, it's really bizarre how she was not able to. Now, mind you, obviously, it'd be a really dumb thing to bust them for, but the fact that literally their products all over the place, and there's like a TV interview, and there's probably marketing. How would she not be able to prove, like, look what the boys did?
It's like yeah, I don't know. I mean, and to be fair, there's like really nothing to connect them to it.
Plus, I mean, honestly, if Candace were smart, all she'd have to do is like ask Linda to like just ask them directly what they did today and be very thorough in the questioning, and then they tell her because they're not going to lie to her.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they never think that far ahead.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, but because again, she doesn't really try to bust them for this, so it is a nice change of pace.
Yeah. All right, so
obviously that sparks Phineas going, I know what we're gonna do today.
they're thinking up toy designs in the background. Ferb is doing the heavy lifting here, where Ferb builds the ultimate toys. They're looking for a toy that is uncomplicated, that could do anything. So we reveal it's Perry the platypus, the inaction figure.
It does absolutely nothing.
Love it.
I mean, basically the greatest part of this toy is the imagination that you could use with it.
There's got to be a little bit of Poffenmeyer homaging log in this, right? There's got to be a little bit of that.
Honestly, I don't know.
It's log, as big, as heavy, as wood. So it's the idea you have a completely, basically, it's the springboard for all the childhood ideas. It's like they actually had this. Robot Chicken did a Toy Story gag with this once, in which they had one of those stupid kind of. This is gonna sound harsh, but it's like one of those Gwyneth Paltrow-esque toys. One of those it's like one of those kind of really coddly sort of toys. Like it's a block of wood with a vague face on it, but it's like string. It's like a toy for kids to discover things about themselves with, versus being an actual toy. Toy Story made fun of that on Robot Chicken. It was pretty. It was kind of one note, but it was funny.
At least with this, it actually has like a design.
That's the thing. I love it's kind of making fun of that sort of like line of thought with the toy design, but by the same token, it's like let kids play with their imagination. There is the idea there should be room to grow, especially when the design of an original toy like this.
Yep, it's like you see plenty of those like overly complicated toys, and while those are fun, sometimes it's just more fun to let kids go wild with something with a toy they could do whatever they want.
Exactly. So we have the multi-purpose of this Perry the platypus here, where you have like airplane. He's got a race car. He could be a bucking bronco. He could tango with them.
Basically, it does nothing, so it could basically do everything.
And JB is. I wonder if JB is a double nod. Of course, JB is voiced by the wonderful J.K. Simmons.
Yep, I figured you'd pick up on that.
I wonder if JB is in nod to just JK's name, or is it like KB Toys, but JB Toys?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's just more of a reference to his name.
I think so, too. I think ultimately that's the case. The KB thing has occurred to me recently.
Yep, this is the... Well, I miss KB Toys.
KB Toys look on the bright side. We got to see in Hawkeye one last time.
KB Toys was awesome.
Yeah.
There hasn't been one near me in like over 20 years.
Yeah, I remember the toy I regret not buying from KP Toys.
What?
The Spider-Man the Animated Series figures, like the 12-inch ones.
Oh yeah, I wasn't into Spider-Man at that point, so I missed out on that. I was more interested in like their games and stuff like that because they sold video games too.
Yeah, for me, I was hunting for all the Dragon Ball figures, and I kept ending up with Dragon Ball Z, and it was never the same. But it was.
It's not the same.
That's what I'm saying. It's so now. You go to a comic shop, it's like I've gotten to a point where I can't buy the Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z figures really, but it's the fact that because there are numerous now, and it's like what? It's like a part of me wants to just. It's like when I was a kid, like I wanted Batman the Animated Series figures, and I wanted Dragon Ball figures. And the pickings were so limited then. You had Batman the Animated Series figures, but they never like looked exactly like the show, and there's like Kenner toy limitations. And now, like obviously now it's a lot harder because they shuttered things, and now because of the pandemic, and McFarlane Toys has been slowly but surely getting back on board making them. But they have the Animated Series toys that are exactly like the models from the show, and they're wonderful. They're everything I dreamed of as a child. So you have those now, and then you have like, oh my god, you have Goku. You even got like Major General Tao from Dragon Ball, and like the Demon King Piccolo. They have all the pickings from Dragon Ball you can buy, and yet now it's too late. What does that get me now? Back then, I'm buying a toy like Goku stuck in the Kamehameha wave pose. It's like he's just stuck in that pose. I can't. There's no articulation. What am I going to do with this? I can only pose him in one way. How's he going to hit somebody?
So that one can only do one thing.
I know.
It can't do nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
yeah, it's like this episode could be seen as like a satire on that, as you mentioned earlier.
a little bit, yeah.
It's like but that's
I'm tempted to go on several toy rants, but I'm gonna refrain from that.
I mean, we can save that for later, I guess. But
Sure.
it's like, and Jake, as you mentioned, J.K. Simmons makes his first appearance of at least 3 on the show.
Oh, cool.
The later 2 are in the 4th season, and they're the same character. But he does appear again. We do get to hear more J.K. Simmons.
Does he have a mustache?
He voices a bug.
Oh. Wait, does the bug have a mustache?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll explain the whole bug thing when we get to them.
All right, so he ejects. Basically, he's being sold the idea, and he likes it because of the simplicity.
And because the climbing toys aren't selling anymore, you're like Climbing Simon, Ascending Brendan, Latterman Larry, and Climby Jaime.
Climby Jaime.
Which you actually see in this thumbnail here.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, yeah. Anyway, so they looking for new blood here, and then we have like this one guy at the table's like, no, we can't do that. And he basically ejects, but doesn't eject him. He basically sends him down to a crocodile pit. It sounds like.
yeah. And then he's replaced with the guy who's like, I love it. What are we talking about? Like, I love it. What are we talking about?
I believe it's this guy in the picture too. It's the same guy.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's D. Bradley Baker.
It very well could be.
Yeah.
They don't really list who voices who, like in the additional voices.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I just love the idea of it's like, hey D, I know you're doing Perry, but we need a yes man. Can you do that? Yeah.
Well,
D, we need a monkey sound. Can you do that? Yeah, sure, I can do that. Okay, D, can you just the fact
basically they just they recorded Perry and then they just reused it. Whenever Perry's a regular growl, they just recorded it once and then just reuse it whenever they can.
Oh man, that's not right. They're doing D. Bradley Baker dirty on that.
Well, I think he still got paid for it though, and they still brought him in to like record additional voices for like every episode anyway.
Okay, I guess that as long as he's getting paid, I guess that's fine.
And of course, and obviously, if Perry does other noises, they still bring him in to do those. But the basic growl, from what I understood, they just reuse the same recording.
Interesting.
So it's like, but of course, that leads to another hilarious aspect from JB going like, Phineas, Ferb, we're gonna produce your toy that does nothing, and I'm gonna put both of you in charge and double your salaries.
We don't get a salary. We've never gotten a salary.
Well, then I'll triple it.
This is the idea that toy executives usually do not have any idea what they're doing. They just give you they just push deadlines. That's all toy executives really do.
I mean, heck, that could just be seen as executives in general.
Yeah, it's like He-Man needs a ride. He needs like a steed of some kind. Like, we don't have a steed though. It's gonna fit the toys. Well, we're gonna need a giant green tiger. Let's just paint the tiger green.
Like, wasn't that kind? That was even kind of parodied in the last episode of Batman Brave and the Bold.
Pretty much, yeah.
When there's like when Mike was trying to get it canceled by turning it into a merchandise driven show.
Again, Jacob, with the toy stuff. I mean, the fact that every iteration, every time Batman got a movie, I mean, every time. Because with every toy line, you always have the variants of, I'm talking more variants than Loki, my friend. More variants than the Loki show in terms of, you would have like Street Luge Batman. You would have like Winter Ready Batman. You'd have, a Heat Defense Batman. You'd have, like Batman, all sorts of different outfits he never in a million years would wear. And if so, he didn't wear it in the property it was associated with.
Oh, God.
It's crazy. And again, the only reason for that, so we can sell more, so the kids are going to buy more.
More. Bring me more of those jellyfish, SpongeBob.
More.
Okay. So yeah, it's like after he offers to triple their $0.00 salary.
Do you think they're getting paid for this?
Well, who knows? It's very well possible they made it.
You know what? I'm going to throw a fan theory out there for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Not a dark reboot thing. Not in this case. I think they're stowing away the money so they can buy materials and stuff for their other day-to-day schemes. The little day-to-day capers.
I mean, honestly, it is never addressed how they get all their items purchased.
I think when they make money off of that and off like the one-hit wonder thing, I think that's where that money's going to.
And it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
So they obviously they then get to revitalizing the factory, which of course leads to the montage, as you mentioned earlier, of them bouncing around like in the toy making process, which is obviously a lot easier in this than it is in reality.
What's the song called again?
The Quirky Worky song.
Yeah, love it.
You'll be hearing it a lot, basically.
It's insanely catchy, isn't it?
It is.
So, by the way, do you think the Perry the Platypus in-action figure, do you think it's made of plastic or wood?
Yes. I don't know. Probably some kind of space-age polymer for all I know.
I think that's the thing, because when we saw the montage, we saw like this Play-Doh factory thing happening, and that makes me think that can't be wood. It's got to be like a plastic, right? Like a wooden plastic.
Looked like it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know. Like it was definitely cut up like wood.
Wait, really? Well, when you say cut up like wood, what do you mean?
I mean, they cut it, and like maybe they just cut it more like, as you said, like Play-Doh kind of.
That's what I'm saying. When you look, and when they cut it was cut like Play-Doh. That's what makes me think it's not wood, but it's made to look like wood.
Yeah, I think that's probably closer to probably more accurate.
Yeah. So anyway, so we do basically it's love that we liven up the dreary assembly line. Like here's a pull for you. It's like the toy assembly factory thing we saw in an extremely goofy movie.
Yep, and we're Goofy's assembling the toys and everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the dreary toy factory there, and then of course we spice it up. We basically turn to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, which is perfect.
It's like, which of course which we even see a chocolate river in the first place.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why do we have that?
It's like a random allusion to Willy Wonka.
Yeah, and I would love that Phineas is dressed exactly like Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka.
It's like it's that toy factory. Why is there a chocolate river here? The Badinkadinks show up. These strange blue men things.
Now this is what's funny here. We don't even have to write a gritty reboot scene for this. This one, like, tell them what the Badinkadinks say, Jacob.
It's like, you said it's free when you remodel the factory. We've been trapped in the basement for years making foam peanuts and snipping the tablets off of plastic. We will now lay waste to the surface dwellers. Okay, then. Carry on.
It writes itself, Jake. We know what happens there.
Yeah, they're actually successful.
Yeah.
But we can assume that in this show they were unsuccessful because we never see them again.
Yeah, I mean the tragedy is they go up there and they try an uprising. They probably kill like 2-3 people, and then they're gunned down by the military.
Oh God.
Like, shoot him, and you understand we were in captivity.
Oh God. Yeah,
it's like, that was my brother.
Like, either that or they found some way to live in harmony with the humans instead of trying to overthrow them.
Not in the gritty reboot, my friend.
Well, maybe in the live one, in the happy reboot.
In the happy reboot, you know what probably happened?
What?
They were saying, "Hey, we're upset. Do you want ice cream?" Yes. Made it all better.
Yeah, yep, that probably would solve their problem.
Then one of them saying, "Well, this is good, but can we have affordable housing too?" And then the other guy says, "Okay, sure, why not?" It was a good day. That's the difference between the gritty reboot and just the relaunch that's coming.
Yeah. Of course, the marketing guy tries different tactics with the Perry Inaction Figure, including like the mad platypus,
the mad marsupial,
which is actually inaccurate because actually platypuses or platypi or whatever the term is, they're actually monotremes, not marsupials.
Yep.
So that's actually not correct.
And we have Perry the super spy, and we have Perry like Super Perry,
like the atomic super platypus.
Uh-huh.
And secret agent Perry the Platypus. which of course has a vest. So it's
Well, no, it has a jacket.
Has a jacket, so it's distinctly different.
Yeah. So of course, Phineas and Ferb are like, "Do you have anything else?" And Ferb just walks over with the winning plan. Just to get, I love they just want to give the guy a win because they know what again. There's another satirical joke of like toy designers know what they want, but it's just getting the bigwigs to agree to what they want. So if you could just do this in real life, just okay, look, just stop trying to pitch me a direction. Here you go. Perry the Platypus, the inaction figure, does nothing. Nothing.
Good day, sir.
Yeah. Good day, sir.
Yes, Perry the Platypus inaction figure. It does nothing. That's it.
Shakes his hand and everything's kind of baffled. Like, okay, my day just got easier.
It's like, yeah, just let the boys do their thing, and everything will just work itself out.
Absolutely. Of course, now we should talk about the real, great reboot thing. We have a multiverse set up here with all those different Perrys.
Yeah.
The Mad Marsupial is kind of like the Batman who laughs of the multiverse.
Oh no, not the Batman who laughs.
Oh yeah. It's Perry. If Doofenshmirtz succeeded and drove Perry the platypus off the deep end.
Like he made him believe he's a marsupial instead of a monotreme.
You're a marsupial.
It's like no, I'm a monotreme.
You can't talk, Perry the platypus. You're a marsupial.
No.
Stop talking. It's unnatural. Stop snarling. Much better.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of Doofenshmirtz.
Yes, Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
Actually, it's Doofenshmirtz Evil Annex.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's better.
It's Doofenshmirtz Evil Annex this time.
Nice.
Remember the earlier variation we had was aluminum siding.
That's true. Yeah, so we're starting to get some more variations.
This against Evil Annex. There's an abandoned theater. Basically, House in the Woods. There's all kinds of stuff when it comes to Doofenshmirtz. Is very Doofenshmirtz.
So I love the Doofenshmirtz plot here. The fact that Doofenshmirtz I know this is kind of a retro. We've set up that Doofenshmirtz has a big interest in tolling.
I think this is the last time he actually takes an interest in toll booths.
Hmm.
The podcast both of them failed.
Well, yeah.
But the question is this idea smarter or dumber than the last one?
Do you mean the in this episode, or do you mean in the other toll booth one?
Well, I guess both in this case.
Well, do you remember what the original specifics of the other toll booth was?
Well, remember he was going to dig a hole to China.
Oh, right.
And open a toll booth there.
Believe it or not, I think the China one was dumber.
Yeah, that one did. Yeah. And in regards to the helium.
Well, yeah, that's dumber than this.
Yeah, I know. Like, there's still obviously flaws in his idea. But
well, yeah, like he's not using cement. That's the biggest flaw right there.
Well, that was mainly his flaw in trapping Perry.
Well, for all we know, he wasn't going to use cement when he was building the wall.
So that is probably fair, but he didn't get that far.
We'll never know. So the idea that he's stealing bricks from existing structures to construct a great wall and
the Great Wall of the Tri-State Area.
He basically told people to enter and leave the tri-state area. That's really funny.
And again, he uses it using a 100 scale model to demonstrate.
I love the fact that he built the model. I'm a sucker for models, first and foremost.
He's like, you'd be surprised at how much free time I have.
I know, I love that.
He actually does do a lot of model building in this show.
You got to appreciate that, if he's going to be, I think it's what we need with more of our evil dictators and everything. We got to have craftsmanship. It's just all messy. It's all messiness, collateral damage, and horror. Why can't they just put all the effort into the mock-up and then fail miserably, and the world will be a safer place? Why can't we do that?
Yeah, be more like Doofenshmirtz, evil dictators out there.
Yeah, man.
Take
Yeah.
take notes from Doofenshmirtz.
Instead of testing bombs and everything, here's what you do: you build a tiny little harmless scale model, and you drop a fake bomb there. That's your
or
first test.
or at least use like one of those little things that they use to power rocket, little homemade rockets in there, and then blow that up.
Sure, there you go. It's like, but this basically, we
Like
should give them as much pointless steps as possible, so we can delay them from doing the really awful stuff. And by the time they're going to get bored, they're going to get foiled.
keep in mind the Doofenshmirtz in Across the Second Dimension. Remember, he became evil dictator just because he lost his toy train.
Right.
It's like so you're not entirely far off.
Yep.
It's like if he had his toy train, he wouldn't have taken over the tri-state area.
That's true.
It's like so technically you're not far off in that regard.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's so basically that's his idea, and then we basically cut to an action figure becoming a huge hit.
Yep. It's a huge hit. Candace is now in the giant Perry the Platypus outfit, which is really funny.
Which the suit does actually come back later on in a way.
In a way.
In a way, yes. Not in this episode, but later on in this show.
Oh, okay.
Or at least a version of Candace wearing a platypus suit does come up later on.
Okay. So let's see. So again, Perry the Platypus escapes his death trap because,
I should have used cement.
which is priceless. And then he says, "You couldn't catch me even if you had 1,000,000,000 Perry the Platypuses." And he falls into the factory, and he's surrounded by a whole bunch of Perry the Platypuses. And he's just freaked out because he thinks that it's the real Perry the Platypus.
That's just disturbing.
Yeah, but now we have this great gag where this is wonderful. The boys are walking through the factory, and Perry is caught. And I love how he's like the music pretty much skips. It's like stops. It's like he's been caught, and you see standing still. It's like, no, we told you guys. He's a platypus. He doesn't do anything interesting. Okay, not the spy one. He chucks it in the trash.
Yeah, what the gritty reboot be like on that one?
Well, no, here's the great reboot. Okay, so he does that, and then Perry kind of pops out, and a single tear sheds.
Oh, I thought the more gritty reboot would be like he thrown in the trash just as it's being collected.
No. The great reboot's this. The great reboot is the boys are walking by, and they see Perry, and he moves, or he flinches by accident, and then they're wigged out, and then Perry does like a Vulcan nerve pinch on him.
What is a nerve punch?
Well, no, he just punches them in the nerve, and it hurts a lot, and they pass out from the pain. That's the nerve punch.
Ouch! That sounds worse than just a pinch.
That's the thing. So he does the Vulcan nerve pinch on him, and then basically he goes out of his way, and he puts him in bed. So they think the whole toy making thing was a dream, and because they never showed up for work, all the toys just went away.
That's not really gritty though.
Well, it's the fact that he kind of did a lot of psychological damage to him. It's like, well, man, I just had this horrible dream, and then their money making enterprise is in the toilet now.
Now, to be fair, in this episode, they do just leave it willingly.
Right, that's true.
But they didn't have a choice that time, so it kind of would ruin them, I guess.
The grittiest reboot though, that's like the boys catch him, and he kind of like rolls his eyes, and he kind of sighs because he knows what he has to do, and he basically cuts away, and then their bodies are in the trash can. He basically finds a replacement Phineas and Ferb look exactly the same.
What is it with you with these body replacements?
Well, you wanted it to be grittier.
Like, I know, but you always just default to, they just kill and replace.
Well, that's because it's easy to do that with a mad scientist. Admittedly, this one is more sadistic because they have the Perry Platypus. It's not just like cloning or anything. He has to literally find. It's gonna be It's gonna be kind of like one of those once removed multiverse things where it's like it's everything, but there's a very small difference. It's like it's Phineas and Ferb but spelled differently.
So it's like a Rick and Morty kind of thing.
Kind of, but it's in the same universe though. He did a lot of searching and had to move to a different place, and their names are Phineas and Ferb, and somehow he set up this account where they get paid. This whole family gets paid. to basically these boys get paid to pretend to be Phineas and Ferb with this family. So to leave their old family and have to join this new family and pretend to be the new Phineas and Ferb.
Oh my god, it's just messed up.
I know it's messed up. There you go. There's your darker reboot.
Ah,
And just
anyway.
Phineas and Ferb knows. Sorry, Phineas and Ferb, of course, they're kind of sweating being caught, and meanwhile Perry Platypus is like, I killed those poor children,
Oh my god.
and I took these children away from their families, but it's all in service of the mission for me to stop this very incompetent scientist I'm locked in a moral combat with.
Oh my god.
What am I doing with my life? Why am I wearing this hat?
Like, we know why he's wearing the hat. It's what makes him a secret agent.
True.
It's like, and then I know you're looking for like the metaphorical reason as to why he's wearing.
Yeah,
the
that's
hat.
Jacob. That was looking for the metaphorical
Ah.
reason.
I know. I was just ruining the gravitas.
Yeah. And the monogram, of course, next day monogram's like, so anything you want to tell me about in this person? No, nope, don't tell you about it, no. And Carl's like, wait a minute, those aren't the same kids. And Perry's like, I don't know, he's shrugging his shoulders like, Carl, you're crazy, man. They're the same kids, same exact kids. But wait, didn't Phineas have a different colored shirt? Like, no. And this Perry's like hitting like the call off button.
Oh,
And he's like sighing, like, okay, dodge the bullet for another day. Anyway, back to the episode.
yeah. It's like before this gets even more off the rails.
Guess before we get into what happens to poor Candace, oh god.
Like, well, I think we'd rather go into another one of your toy rants.
Okay, here's a toy rant for you.
All right.
The Buzz Lightyear toys they're making now, or making these days. Seriously, ever since Toy Story 3, I'll show you the difference. Toy Story 3 was like roughly like a they're going for like kind of the 10 to 11 year period since since Toy Story 2. When they came back, they did like these collection pieces in which they very impressively they were interactive and they did almost everything as physically possible as they could do from the movie versions of those toys.
Yeah.
But Buzz Lightyear particularly was the most impressive of these. Now, Toy Story 4 rolls around, Disney cheaped out huge and big. Thinkway or Disney, somewhere it broke down. The Buzz Lightyears, compared to what they used to do, they only limited them to one feature. So it's the Buzz Lightyear that is like 12 inches tall, as in going back to when the Buzz Lightyears were first produced. Again, they weren't 1-for-1, 100%, but there was an effort made, as in they did pretty much everything they could. Now, the toys in Toy Story 4 era, you have a Buzz that only does the karate chop action. As in, if you were a kid pushing all the other buttons on the Buzz Lightyear, does nothing except the karate chop action. They only give the Buzz Lightyears one feature each.
Oh, that's kind of lame.
It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. I weep for the children versus what we had.
That's the saddest and strangest thing I've ever heard.
That's correct.
Yep.
Those poor little men. But that's the thing. I mean, he's going back to like even the '95 model Buzz Lightyear. Again, he was a little clunkier than the other Buzz, but he still there was an attempt at him doing everything. It's just like the laser, just like the weird like 3 blips versus like the one sound.
Well, there's only so much they could do, and like
that's what I'm saying. But it goes to show you. Okay, so then '95 was already a really good attempt.
Not one single, not a single toy could do everything that Buzz Lightyear could do.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Toy Story was like, okay, it was a very practical '90s attempt at doing as much as they could at that time do for Buzz Lightyear. And then Toy Story 2 rolls around. It's the same thing, but they've added like variants of Buzz Lightyears and specialties. So again, it was still a Buzz Lightyear that had multiple sound effects and stuff, but he was also styled to be different.
One could only hope that they improve their quality for Toy Story 5.
I do not have confidence in that. Just given what Toy Story 4 was with their toy line. Then again, Toy Story 3 just the pinnacle. Toy Story 3 though, utter pinnacle of what they could do with the Buzz Lightyear.
All right.
Anyway,
maybe we can save another toy rant for the end of the episode.
Well, I mean, we'll see if there's. I mean, that was a big. I have one. I have another Toy Story related one, but we'll save it for the end. Okay.
All right, good. But so basically, Doofenshmirtz gets accidentally loaded into the crates while the other pair of the platypus toys are on a boat.
Why do I smack? I hope I'm not on a boat because I get seasick.
It's actually kind of funny considering a later scheme that Doofenshmirtz has.
Yeah.
But where he basically there's a later episode where he invents a boat. Or
He
he
invents a boat.
Yeah, the buoyancy operated aquatic transport.
Okay, that's funny.
Yep,
That's really funny.
It is. It's not till season 2 though.
Okay.
So anyway, but the thing is that because the joke there is he has no idea what a boat is.
What a moron.
Yeah. Anyway, so Phineas and Ferb return to the toy factory, and of course JD is trying his new suit, which, as we see, is like that man isn't wearing any clothes.
It's, of course, a little nod to the Emperor's new clothes.
Not Emperor's new groove, Emperor's new clothes. For all you people out there. And of course, everybody just goes along with it, probably afraid of being fired, which, as you mentioned, like Emperor's new clothes.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh boys, what are you doing next?
Nothing. We're going home. Mom's making fried chicken.
And of course they get, and of course like, well, what are we gonna do now? And of course, like this guy, like the guy you see on here, basically, well, this flew through my window earlier, JD. It's a brick. I love it.
I laughed so hard at that, and I gotta be honest, it did make me think of a Freakazoid gag.
Yeah, what is it?
Freakazoid. Okay, so Freakazoid, there was, I believe it was I forget if it was the end of the first season or not. Might have been, yeah, I think it was the first season. You had, sorry, actually, I'm sorry, I don't. Sorry, it was season 2. Season 2. It was the cave guy and Cobra Queen episode where they crossed over, and Freakazoid had developed a telekinetic power, and Roddy McStew was drilling into him while he had to learn this and hone this ability. And Freakazoid was just trying to lift a brick with his head using telekinesis, and it basically he did it so many times he hit himself with the brick in the head all these times when he did the telekinesis. He can never just lift it and do stuff with it. He was always kind of flung into his head and broken in half. And he ended up in the hospital, and the doctor's asking how many times he was hit with a brick. 37 times to be exact. 37 times.
Freakazoid isn't good with bricks.
No, the gag was a Freakazoid. He's so dazed by this, he just keeps going brick. Just like, what do you see? You're like doing an ink blot test. What do you see? Brick. just keep saying brick. It's really funny. So
I can't say I've seen that episode.
Oh yeah, it's great. Plus you have Ed Asner giving you. Well, no, I'm sorry, that might have been a different episode. Actually, no, I can't. Sorry. Yes, this episode was Freakazoid. He goes to the hospital, and Ed Asner as Cosgrove gives you the PSA about why you should go to a hospital.
Okay.
I'm saying it was a good PSA, and it was really funny. Anyway,
I was just wondering what you knew what the PSA was, like what he
well,
said.
the PSA is basically like just so the idea is that they break the fourth wall of the show. So Freak is always saying, "Oh man, I hate being in hospitals, it's icky and stuff," and then they break the fourth wall to make sure kids aren't actually afraid of hospitals. But seriously, kids, just so you know, a hospital is where you go when you're feeling kind of irpy, and they're gonna fix you up real good. And then also the food's divine. Obviously, that last part was a bit of an upsell, but you know.
Yeah, the food. Hospitals are not known for their food.
Yeah, so the last part, bit of an upsell, but everything else, it was pretty good. But I do love the message of hydration, where Freakazoid he accidentally discovers his telekinetic abilities when he's ranting. Basically, when Freakazoid rants and gets angry, he can unawarely he kind of like has telekinesis. And he's like his nurse is like, I need more water, nurse. I'm trying to get fluids. I'm still not getting my fluids. And like the little glass of water is filling itself in the sink and then bringing it back to him.
Oh my god.
Anyway, tangent aside, bricks, Jacob, tell him about the wonder of bricks. The red bricky goodness.
Brick. It's fun.
Brick, it's fun.
It's just like, it's fun.
You have 8 bricks and it's fun.
It's fun. It doesn't even sound particularly enthusiastic. He's just like, it's fun.
It's like, hey kids, it's fun. Buy a brick.
It's like, oh god. I just love the look on the kid's face. He's like, it's fun. And then the little honk in the song too just makes it even better.
Right now, I'm kicking myself. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm not kicking myself. I remembered it. Okay, so you remember? Did you ever see the Muppets, the Very Merry Muppet Christmas movie?
Like even the NBC one.
The NBC one, yes.
Yes, I did see it, but I don't. But I did actually see that.
Okay, in the It's a Wonderful Life version of the world in which Kermit the Frog was never born, and we go like the mall and the park being turned to a mall. Gonzo's act is him, and not with Camilla the chicken. It's Gonzo and Amy the dancing brick.
I don't remember the specifics of that special, but I have actually seen it.
What cracks me up is there was a guy, like Gonzo seemingly was about to have a patron, and the guy was there waiting for the brick to dance.
Oh,
Just really funny.
And Gonzo's probably trying to get it to dance.
Yeah, that's the thing. Gonzo's like, and any minute now, she's gonna dance.
Any minute now.
Now we know Gonzo has made cheese dance before, though.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, in the Muppet Show, yeah, they have the dancing cheese. I forget if the cheese had a name, but I think it's just the dancing cheese. And Kermit the Frog's like, the dancing cheese? It's the Steve Martin episode.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I'll have to rewatch that one.
Yeah. Anyway.
I was like, it's fun.
So, point being, kids will buy anything. They go nuts for the brick. Candace is in a giant brick costume.
And the hypocrisy with Phineas and Ferb say, it's like, now who would buy a brick for a toy? It does absolutely nothing.
Right after they made a bundle of Perry the Platypus.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Perry the Platypus is probably a better designed toy than, a brick.
I gotta be honest, I love this episode, but I do feel we dipped in the formula briefly when we didn't have to at all. Because Candace was like, she calls mom, and there's no follow-up, there's no purpose to it really. Just like to say, okay, Linda's in the store doing something, but we don't really pay it off or have like a Michigan J Frog thing like we tend to do.
Like, as you said, there's probably just no way for them to actually pay it off in the first place.
That's what I'm saying. I just wonder why they bothered cutting away for like that one gay if we weren't going to pay it off anyway. I mean, they didn't need that. They didn't need to pay it off, and they didn't. So that's the thing. It just feels like why set up a payoff if we're not going to have it.
I don't know. Maybe just to get us anticipated, I guess.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
But either way, it's like, now Candace is wearing a brick costume.
And Jeremy cheers her up by saying,
At least you don't have a weenie on your head.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, he gets me.
He understands me.
And of course, there's the deleted scene in which, hey, Candace, I saw what you did with those pictures. You need help. Like, seriously, you need help. There's a psychiatrist named Dr. Bliss. Go see her. She wears a lot of purple.
You might see someone who looks like Isabella there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, but blonde and pigtails.
Yes.
Anyway. So, Dragon, now that we're done with that, what's your other Toy Story related rant?
Okay.
We really need to find your rant music, by the way.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought we did. I don't think you didn't you download it?
Well, I downloaded your regular theme. It wasn't your.
Oh yeah, you're right. We hadn't. Yeah, you're right. We still haven't zeroed in. Okay, we'll put a pin in it. We'll do that. Regardless.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's something that's always bothered me. Okay, for past, I guess. God, how many years has it been? I mean, since the original Toy Story came out. There's 95, 2005, 2015. I guess the last 28 years. Sound about right?
I guess so.
All right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's how old I currently am. So I guess and Toy Story came out in '95. So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I think it's 28 years. Anyway, yeah. So past 28 years, never in any of that time ever have we made a Mr. Potato Head officially that has, it's a very simple thing, by the way, that has 2 separate feet and 2 separate eyes. Okay? It's a very insanely simple thing to do, okay? Just give them 2 eyes, which means 2 eye holes and 2 feet holes, okay? It's like I know it's like an extra step in separating the plastic, but in 28 years, Mr. Potato Head's popularity going through the roof thanks to Toy Story, all these variants and everything. At the very least, you'd think at some point, even when they're putting out the collection toys that are interactive and everything are really nice, you'd think at some point that the interactive one. Technically, you don't need interactive Mr. Potato. It's cool though. Don't get me wrong. I like it, but it's a question of all the. We still can't crack the code on that. We still can't give them 2 feet and 2 eyes.
Not even on the Toy Story related ones.
No, never. That's what I'm saying. Especially the Toy Story related ones. It's still the same manufacturing process. It's 1 fused eye and 1 fused feet set.
That is really strange.
Because again, when you think about this, Jacob, the people that those people that make the live action recreations of Toy Story 1 and 3, they can't do 2 because of the airport and the pizza plant truck. So mainly the airplane,
which is a shame, really.
It is. I would be rooting for them to do that because that'd be amazing if they could pull that off. But anyway,
it would be kind of hard to film a toy horse catching up to a plane.
Well, that would be actually. That'd be amazing, though. I mean, it'd be like those guys who did the Raiders of the Lost Ark fan film.
Well, they could do a stop motion kind of thing with the plane and use perspective shots. But then again, I'm probably simplifying it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they probably tried to think of numerous ways to do it, and obviously they probably had difficulties even doing it. But still, impressive work, guys.
God, the climax of Toy Story 2 is amazing, though. Just I can't help but love it. Just
Woody's finest hour.
Oh yeah. What's a cowboy without his hat? It's like the coolest Buzz Lightyear one of the coolest Buzz Lightyear entrances ever.
It's like, so do you have anything more for the rant?
Yes, and my point is like those poor gentlemen who made all those things. I mean, I have to go back and see if they had to customize the potato head or not. But it's the fact that if Mr. Potato Head if they're doing the big plot point Toy Story 3, Mrs. Potato Head left an eye behind. Think about it. Or if we're doing like the vent scene or anything, is the fact that Mr. Potato, every time he needs like one eye, it's an impossibility. Or we're doing Mr. Angry Eyes. Yeah, I mean, technically that one works because just the feet together, but still, it's a point. Like anytime you need the separate eyes, it's never there.
Oh, it's horrible. They're torturing him.
What are we gonna do, Buzz? Use your head.
But I don't want to use my head. Ow. That's why we were in the blooper verse, guys.
God, I love that.
We were in the bloopers we're doing the blooper the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, but you see what I mean? Doesn't that just seem ridiculous? Like in all that time and all these different variations we make of Mr. Potato Head, never once have we thought, let's alter the body for a change. And I'm not talking about making the shift back to a real potato, but just an extra hole. There's 2 extra holes. It's not rocket science.
Did they at one point use an actual potato?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Not really.
Yeah, in the 50s, they used actual potatoes.
Huh.
That was the thing. They sold the parts, and you'd use a potato. I forget if they sold you the potato with it, but you would have to basically put in potato, and that's where they got the idea in That's essentially where they got the idea for Toy Story 3, where Potato Head's like in actual vegetation and stuff.
Like Mr. Cucumber Head.
Mr. Cucumber Head and Tortilla Head.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. Like Mr. Potato Head, when he was originally conceived, it was an actual potato.
I probably heard that somewhere before. I just didn't remember. Obviously, for obvious reasons, that's probably why they switched to a plastic potato.
Oh yeah, they didn't want to have the kids like they have to keep finding potatoes and have like, oh, I love my Mr. Potato Head, but it's rotting.
It's like, well, there goes Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah.
All right. Any closing thoughts, Dragon, for this one?
No, I guess overall, I mean, again, I thought they were both good. I particularly loved Toy to the World. A lot of fun, a lot of nostalgia there, and mini nostalgia for Phineas and Ferb, but it was in general nostalgia for toy design.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a little bit of satire here and there.
Yeah.
Like so, like exactly.
And a little J.K. Simmons never hurts anyone.
Nope. Like I said, we get it once again in the 4th season, but in an entirely different way.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's not as anything like J. Jonah Jameson in the Marvel special.
Nope.
Unfortunately, we never see him in that. We do get Stan Lee, though.
Wait, you mean J.K. Simmons did not voice him in the Marvel special they did?
I was like, no, like J. Jonah Jameson wasn't even in the special.
Oh, that's why then. Okay.
But Stan Lee did appear in the episode, so there's that.
Okay.
So yeah. And I know, and as I mentioned before, there's another thing with that episode that you have a problem with.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Just wait a few years, people. You'll finally find out what we mean.
The fire's still going to be burning bright on that, kids. Don't worry.
Have you seen the special yet, Dragon?
Well, no, I'm just saying I know that one thing about the special. So knowing that one thing about the special, I think it's still going to be burning bright.
Yep, I can imagine. And so folks, in approximately 100, probably over 100 weeks.
Yeah.
About 100 weeks, you'll find out why Dragon's upset with the Marvel special.
Yep.
All right, I think that ends it for this week. So join us next week on the Phineas and Ferb Recap-inator for another 2-part episode. And this time it's the first Halloween episode, where Phineas and Ferb try to cure Isabella's hiccups, and Doofenshmirtz visits a mysterious island. Good night, everybody.
It does nothing.
Well, then I'll triple it.